Hello everyone, hello Riftbounders. I will be kind of going over Phoenix Reksai, which is a deck that I've been enjoying a lot and don't see a lot of coverage of on YouTube or anywhere else really, so for any Phoenix Reksai enjoyers or other Phoenix deck enjoyers out there, maybe I can add to the relatively small amount of knowledge that is out there. I will say that I'm not a great player by any stretch of the imagination. I am just a guy that enjoys the deck and enjoys Immortal Phoenix and wants to show what's out there for Phoenix in Reksai in particular, and some of the interactions that you may not be aware of. So, moving on. What is Phoenix Reksai? It's just a Reksai deck that uses Immortal Phoenix. The deck will run kill spells in a way to try to reanimate the Immortal Phoenix after it dies or after it gets placed in the trash. So in red and yellow, there's a lot of kill spells out there, such as Falling Star, Cull the Weak, and Hidden Blade. Those are probably the three big ones out there. There are some other ones that also work with Phoenix that we'll get into a little later. And this deck is somewhat aggressive, but is not quite as aggressive as other Reksai style decks, with like the yellow swarm decks playing Legion rear guard, creating a bunch of tokens with Legion and stuff like that. So depending on your draws and depending on the matchup, you may actually play a little slower and even kind of like a mid-range deck. But again, that will be matchup dependent and on your draws. And I'll also point out that Phoenix and Kaisa could also work as well because red and blue have a lot of kill spells. The only problem with putting it in Kaisa is that because it's all damage based, and I guess to some extent might decrease based, you may have trouble getting over certain units that are really big, stuff like Mind Splitter, Elder Dragon, Aurelia, maybe Set. But yeah, like against taller units, it's going to be a little harder to kill those off with spells to replay your Phoenix. That's why I've been liking playing it in Reksai, where you have access to yellow. You can just play Cull the Weak and then get rid of potentially one of their big units while sacrificing either a Phoenix or one of your smaller fodder units. Another neat interaction with Rek'sai Breacher, the champion of this deck, is that friendly units played from anywhere other than a player's hand have Accelerate. So what this means is if you have Reksai in base or on a battlefield, you can play a Phoenix from your trash by paying 2 energy and 2 red power. Right? So imagine Reksai in base, you play Cull the Weak, or let's say Falling Star, or even Hidden Blade on your own Phoenix. You can play any Phoenixes in your trash and have them accelerated for 2 energy, 2 red power each. A neat situation where this could be useful is if you have Reksai in your base, you have a readied Immortal Phoenix on Battlefield 1, but you want to try to conquer Battlefield 2, maybe like it's going to be your 8th point and you would win. Play Hidden Blade, kill your own Phoenix, draw the 2, then play Phoenix from your trash, accelerated, because it's coming from your trash and not your hand. Pay the 2 energy, 2 power, that Phoenix comes in ready, you can try to move into Battlefield 2 to conquer. Now, units from Void Rush, the signature spell, also will be acceleratable. They can be played with Accelerate, again, assuming Reksai is on the battlefield. So a very cool thing that can happen is you play Void Rush, you reveal Noxus Hopeful. You get to play Noxus Hopeful for free because Legion will make it cost 2 less because you've played Void Rush already. And Void Rush also reduces the cost of Noxus Hopeful by 2, making it a total of 0. But if you have Reksai in your control, you can pay an Accelerate cost, which is 1 energy and 1 power of that unit's domain, which would be red, and play, Accelerated Noxus Hopeful just for 1 in a red, which is crazy. Units revealed from the Void Burrower legend. That should be ER Burrower. Also can be accelerated if you have this out. And any tokens made from a card can be accelerated. For example, Ferris Forerunner. The Death Knell where you create 3 mechs, those mechs can be accelerated. You can play Ferris Forerunner. Once it's ready, swing into a battlefield. Let's say it dies and you kill off something. You get to play 2 mech units, right? Because the card says play 3 mechs. And for each mech, you can pay 1 energy and 1 of any color power, I believe, to accelerate each mech. And then swing in again with the 2 mechs. If you're playing any of those like token cards like Captain Rearguard or whatever it's called, I'm sorry, I don't know, where it's like Legion, pay you to play 2 recruits. You can accelerate the recruits if you want to by paying 1 in a power of any color. So neat interactions there. I will point out the main other resource that I've seen for Phoenix Rek'sai is Lothar HS and his Riftbound channel. He has 2 videos on playing Phoenix Rek'sai, one called Mastering Rek'sai for Lil and Alana, the other one being I won a skirmish with Phoenix Rek'sai. I will note though that both of these were posted in April of 2026 before Unleashed was released, so they are somewhat outdated, although for what it's worth, the current deck list that I've been using and I've seen that runs Phoenix has been very similar to what Lothar has been running in his decks. My deck list is shown here. I'll go through it, but I'll note first, it was mainly copied from the 10th place of Season 3 Shanghai City Challenge, the one that happened on May 31st, because apparently there's another tournament called S3 Shanghai City Challenge that happened on June 6th. You can see here the name of the deck and the player's name. I don't know how to pronounce it. I do not know how to read Chinese, even though I am Chinese, but that's a whole other story. The main changes I made to this deck were taking out 1 Sacrifice and 1 Hidden Blade and replacing it with Deathgrip and Salvage. My sideboard is also different from his deck, and it's of course tuned to what I anticipate being local to me. Now, the reason I took out 1 Sacrifice is because it's somewhat difficult to actually have sacrifice targets. Naturally, you'll have Vi and Darius, but you know, sometimes you won't always be able to activate Phoenix and be able to sacrifice the Phoenix while it's attacking. And also, while it's attacking, you probably want the 5 might, so it becomes a little odd to play. It's still useful, don't get me wrong, and I'll explain a little why in a bit, but I wasn't super convinced on it. I took out 1 Hidden Blade. I feel like 3 is a little too much. You know, you don't really want to use it on your opponent's unit and have them draw 2 unless you're about to win off of it. Like, let's say you're at 6 points, you know, you hide a Hidden Blade, they try to move in, you kill a thing, you hold, and now you're at 7, you can try to move in for 8 on the other battlefield. Of course, that's a great way to use Hidden Blade. You can obviously Hidden Blade your own units, which does have its benefits, but is also somewhat of a tempo loss because you're killing one of your own units. Deathgrip is interesting. I was originally running 2, but I ended up cutting 1 for a salvage because of all of the gear prominence that's going around with like Aurora and some equipments as well. Deathgrip is interesting because you can kill off a friendly unit and give its might to another unit and draw 1, which could be useful for Phoenix because you'll be able to sack a Phoenix and then replay the Phoenix right after because you've killed a unit with the spell. And I'll get into clarification on that in a later part of the slideshow here. But other than that, the deck list is pretty simple, I would say. You're running 8 2-drops. I originally was thinking about playing 9 2-drops, so adding another Honest Broker, but it would be a little too low to the ground. It'd be hard to find something else to cut. I guess you could cut the Deathgrip for a 3rd Honest Broker, but I was willing to hedge my bets around only having 8 2-drops. I think the difference in percentages of getting a 2-drop on turn 1 with 9 2-drops is like 85%-ish, and like with 8 2-drops it's only like 90, or sorry, not 90, 80. I don't remember. I remember seeing the math in a Games Deconstructed video. So take a look at that if you want to see like how many 2-drops you should run. But I think 8 is good enough where the percentage of getting a 2-drop turn 1 is high enough that you'll be able to get it on like, 80% of your games or whatever. But you can also like slightly hedge towards like a mid-range, or hedge more towards having more spells so that you can replay your Phoenix or like do combat tricks. So yeah, we'll talk about battlefields in just a second here, but for the sideboard, I don't know why it's so blurry, but Google Slides, whatever. So just to quickly explain, Salvage against value gears, so Dazzling Aurora, Baited Hook, and I feel like there was one more I'm forgetting about, but those are probably the ones that you want to put Salvage in. You could also throw it into Azir as well. It's not too bad. That's up to you. Imperial Decree is mainly used against tall unit decks, so stuff like Fiora, Aurelia, and I think Set as well. I think Set can run tall units. Obviously he can like attack, spend a buff to gain 4 might, I think it is. So Imperial Decree lets you trade off very favorably. You can trade off like a 2-drop for one of their like 5 or 6 might units. It is a little expensive though, but this deck doesn't really have a good way of getting over tall units, especially over like around 6 might. So I think Imperial Decree makes a lot of sense here. Thermo Beam is against equipment decks, so Azir primarily, but also I guess Lucian technically it could work as well. Notably, Thermo Beam cannot be defied, neither can Imperial Decree, because it costs 5 and 2 power, whereas Defy can only counter spells that cost 4 or less energy and 1 or less power. Brynhir is another card that is useful against Spellslinger decks, so things like Diana, and to an extent Aurelia, because Aurelia can play stuff like Discipline, Starcrossed, On Guard. They'll usually have mana up to play spells, and you can play Brynhir to try to force them to either just stay where they are, or maybe you can bait out a reaction to have them move back to score a point. That's probably the best way to use Brynhir. Now, there are some cards that I didn't play that I did consider, and I'll explain why I have not included those in this deck list. Firstly, the Daring and Pouty Poro. So it's the yellow 2-drop Poro and the red 2-drop Poro. Daring Poro is Assault 1. Pouty Poro is Deflect. They are strong early game units. However, I felt like they were not as useful once it got to turn 4 or 5, right? Imagine later in the game you draw your card for turn, it's a Pouty Poro. It's like 2 might and a deflect for 2 energy, which is a good rate, but later into the game, you'll need more to like make it useful, right? You'll need to burn a cleave or like find a way to like sack it with Cull the Weak. And on its own is just not quite there, in my opinion. Now, you could argue that Soaring Scout later in the game is not as useful either, and also Honest Broker. But I actually think Soaring Scout and Honest Broker are worth it later in the game. These Death Knell effects for Soaring Scout, it's channeled 1 rune exhausted, and Honest Broker create a gold token. These energy and power resources are quite useful later in the game because of how power hungry this deck is. Many games that I have played, I will be just kind of stuck on 5 or 6 runes. Sometimes I'll even go down to 3 later in the game because I need to like keep playing Phoenix, Darius, Vi, my other kill spells. And if you don't draw your seals, that really eats up a lot of your runes. So that's why I like Soaring Scout here. Something I just thought of is Carrion Dredger. It's the 1 might 2 energy unit that when it dies, you play a bird token with Deflect. I think that could also be useful. Maybe you could replace Void Hatchling with it. Void Hatchling is nice because when you would reveal cards from your deck, you can basically predict 1 or scry 1 for you Magic players. You can scry 1 before revealing, and I think that's always going to be useful in Rek'Sai because you're trying to conquer quite often. You also have Void Rush, which will reveal cards. Yeah, and you're just trying to conquer. So that's why I wasn't super convinced on Carrion Dredger. Moving on to Sundisk. This is seen in Lothar's Rek'Sai build. He originally ran 2, but I think last I checked his Piltover Archive deck list, it only ran 1. It's only a 1-of, so I'm like not too stressed about trying to figure out if Sundisk really is the better play compared to my Longsword, right? I'm trying to compare gear to gear here, not like gear to unit or like gear to spell or whatever. Maybe you could argue I could play Sundisk over Deathgrip. I think that could be a fair comparison since they're both the 1-ofs at least. But I like the Longsword because it's just like a permanent 2-might upgrade, or not upgrade, but it's a permanent 2-might bonus to whatever unit you might need. Now, granted, you don't have a 3-might unit. I guess Phoenix technically is. And I guess Noxus Hopeful. So you could like put Phoenix or Longsword on a Phoenix or a Noxus Hopeful, and that becomes a valid target for sacrifice without having to do anything else. But past that, I think it's fine. Ferris Forerunner is the other card that might be a question as to why I'm not running it. Purple is just too strong right now, and it can get very easily outvalued with stuff like Starcrossed and Rebuke and whatever other like bounce to hand spells there are out there. So like you will play a Forerunner, 6 might, 1 energy. They play Starcrossed to bounce one of their units back, like a Fizz, for example. Right? They could bounce a Fizz back to their hand and then bounce your Ferris, and it's just not worth it. Additionally, Leblanc Mirror Image can target Ferris, create a ready copy of Ferris, and then crash into your board and get the 3 mech tokens afterwards, which are not temporary, by the way. So you like never really want to play Ferris Forerunner until LeBlanc, and LeBlanc is quite popular. The only like top deck right now that you could probably play Ferris into is like Master Yi, but that's 1 out of the top 4-ish decks right now, so it just didn't feel useful. Okay, moving on to battlefields, we have Zaun Warrens, Candlelit Sanctum, and Minefield. Now, I'm not going to say that these are the best battlefields out there, but these are the ones that I've liked so far. Zaun Warrens is kind of your game 1 battlefield. It's your blind pick, so to speak. Conquer, discard, and draw 1. We wanted Conquer, so that helps us. Discard and draw 1, obviously, is nice to filter your hand. Something you can do is on the Conquer trigger for Zaun Warrens, you can discard your Immortal Phoenix into the trash, draw 1, and then at a later point, use some kind of kill spell to bring your Phoenix back from your trash that you just discarded. Candlelit Sanctum, that would be your going first battlefield for game 2 or 3, whichever one. When you conquer here, look at the top 2 cards of your main deck. You may recycle 1 or both of them. Put those you don't back in any order. So for you Magic folk, it's basically Scry 2. It works great with the Rek'Sai Legend ability because you can look at the top 2 cards and decide if you want to play either of them off of the Rek'Sai ability, or you can look at the top 2 and decide, oh, I want to play that next turn, and then just not use your Legend ability for the turn. So, I mean, this works in like so many good decks that want to conquer, just to like scry 2. But with Rek'Sai, there's like a little more benefit where if you see something you want to play, like let's say a Cull the Weak or like some kind of kill spell, top 2, oh, I want this, keep it on top. Let's say put the other one on the bottom, or keep also that one on top so that you don't waste cards. Or if you don't want to see other cards, then activate Rek'Sai, reveal those cards, play the card, recycle the other. And finally, you have Minefield. This would be for going second. My philosophy on the going second battlefield is that you want something that punishes your opponent for conquering in some way or fashion. There are other possibilities like Rockfall Path, which doesn't let you play units onto it directly, I believe. Yes, because there's also Vile Mausoleum where units can't go back to base. That could be a good turn 2, going second battlefield. But I chose Minefield in particular because it lets you discard 2 cards in your trash, which, kind of like Zaun Warrens, you can try to discard Phoenixes off the top. It can suck a little bit if you like end up discarding, let's say, like a Darius or a Vi, or like some card you really want, like a Cull the Weak, but you know, it's luck of the draw, and you can always just fight for the other battlefield if you don't want to discard. Now, I just want to point out that sequencing in this deck is very important. There are some other interactions between cards in the deck that you should really be aware of when you are playing this deck. The first one being Void Burrower, which is the legend ability, into Noxus Hopeful. What you want to do, if possible, is play something in your base or like some kind of spell first, then conquer, then go for your reveal top 2 off of Void Burrower, because if you do that, you'll be able to play a Noxus Hopeful off the top for 2 rather than the full price of 4, because you've already played a card this turn. Similar thing with Void Rush, which is the signature spell. If you've played well, actually, you don't even need to, because Void Rush counts as a card. If you play Void Rush and reveal a Noxus Hopeful, you get to play that Noxus Hopeful for free, because Void Rush will count towards the Legion, and then Void Rush will also reduce the cost by 2 again. So it'll cost 2 to play it on its own, but then Void Rush will reduce it by another 2, making it free. So you get a free Noxus Hopeful if you play Void Rush from your hand, which is really great. And there's also some situations where if you have the Reksai champion on the field already, you can accelerate Noxus Hopeful. That costs 0. So you just need to pay 1 and recycle a red to accelerate a Noxus Hopeful off of Void Rush, which is pretty cool. Another thing to be aware of is Void Burrower plus Darius. Darius readies and gains 2 might when you play your second card this turn. If Darius is the second card, it will ready and gain the 2 might. So similar to Noxus Hopeful, but slightly different effect. You want to try to play something and then reveal Darius off the top. Now you have a ready unit in your base once you play it, and you can swing in. Technically, the order doesn't matter for Darius, but you still want to play something first in case you draw a Noxus Hopeful. And another sequencing thing to keep in mind is, because of how Immortal Phoenix works, and when obviously when you kill a unit with a spell, you can play Immortal Phoenix from your trash. Something you want to do if you know you're going to play like a Falling Star this turn, swing in with your Phoenixes. If they die, they die. That's fine. Play your kill spell. Hopefully they don't counter it or like dodge it. Then replay your Phoenixes. Right? Because if you're gonna play that card anyway, you may as well try to get the value off of bringing your Phoenixes back after getting that attack. And it's better to attack first because whatever. There are some rule interactions as well, and with Immortal Phoenix in particular, that you should be aware of in this deck. Rule 461 describes the resolution step of a combat, and this is relevant because you can sacrifice your Immortal Phoenix after you attack. Remember, there needs to be a defending unit for Immortal Phoenix to be an attacker. Let's say you win that combat. After you conquer, there is a window for you to play Sacrifice, which lets you sacrifice a mighty unit to draw 2 and channel 1, while still getting the conquering point. And I've listed out the exact steps on how that works up there. So, resolution step: perform combat cleanup, determine combat result, establish control. Conquer 461.5.d. So now you've conquered, you've scored the point, your legend ability will trigger. You can react to it with sacrifice, because your Phoenix is still being designated as an attacker. You can see 461.7, remove attacker and defender designations. That happens after you establish control and have conquered the battlefield. And notably, you can also replay your Phoenix off of Sacrifice, which is the next thing I wanted to point out. You can use Sacrifice on Immortal Phoenix, right, and play it from trash. And specifically, you're sacrificing your Immortal Phoenix that is mighty, right? That has the Assault 2 is 5 might. This is because, and this is answered in this Google Doc, the Riot Unleashed FAQ PopCon Indie May 2026. Now, I believe they listed a few rules, and I think this rule is the one that's the most important. In order to kill something with a spell or ability, the kill action must be attributed to the spell or ability. The player must control that spell or ability, and the player must be responsible for the kill action. So, to put it simply, killing a unit can be part of the costs as well as the effect of the card. Killing a unit can be part of the finalization of the card on top of being part of the resolution of the card, right? Finalizing meaning you've paid all the costs, right? And you've killed it with, let's say, sacrifice. The kill is attributed to sacrifice because it was part of the finalization, and you are responsible for it, and you control that spell. So that's a very neat little thing you can do as well. So again, going back to the last rule and this rule, you attack into a battlefield, kill off your opponent's defender. Before you conquer, you're allowed to sacrifice and then replay Phoenix. I believe you can even replay that Phoenix onto the battlefield. Let me actually go back. Yes, because you still control that battlefield. You have controlled the battlefield, so it is a legal target to replay it onto that battlefield, which is crazy. Just, small interaction, but that could be useful. Imperial Decree versus Guardian Angel. Now, this is specific to attacking a unit that has the same might as your attacker, okay? So I got this from a Lothar video, one of the two that I mentioned previously at the beginning. I don't remember which one. But suppose we're playing against an Aurelia. We have played Imperial Decree. It has resolved. We attack with a Phoenix into a 5 might Aurelia that has GA. And both sides pass. No cards are played. That's it. So the key interaction is the combat damage will happen. Your Phoenix will trigger the Guardian Angel of the Aurelia. Your Phoenix dies. Their Aurelia will lose their Guardian Angel. But then Imperial Decree will trigger, seeing damage being done, and force the Aurelia to die afterwards, because Imperial Decree says whenever a unit takes damage, kill it. So you can sort of get around GA, assuming you have enough might to kill the unit outright in the first place. Now, if the Aurelia player plays like a Discipline to make it 7 might, when you attack with the Phoenix won't kill the Aurelia in combat damage, but the Imperial Decree will cause it to die, but you will only get rid of the Guardian Angel. If you conquer Hall of Legends and your Void Burrower is exhausted, you cannot pay the 1 for conquering Hall of Legends to then exhaust your Void Burrower to get the Reveal Top 2 trigger. That is because both triggers are attempted to be put on the stack or on the chain. However, the Void Burrower trigger is invalid because Void Burrower is already exhausted. So you will only get Hall of Legends to trigger first. A similar thing happens with Warmog's Armor and Monastery of Harana, where if you conquer with a unit that has a buff, you cannot use Monastery to spend the buff to draw 1 and then rebuff the unit that has Warmogs. Here's a game I played a little while back against a LeBlanc player with the Phoenix Reksai deck. We did end up playing a best of 3, but I'll just show the first game for now. So again, Zaun Warrens. And I am recording this after I recorded 2 other ones, but I'm going to replace one of them because whatever. So opening hand, pretty weak. 1 sacrifice, 1 Cull the Weak. Or going to the bottom, and then we're getting sacrifice 2 seals and a Phoenix. Yikes. I don't know what to say about this hand, but it's not bad, but not great. I actually don't think this hand is too bad, but we'll see. If I remember how this game went. I am going second, so at least that gives me turn 1 Phoenix and 2 seals, but I'm not terribly happy about it. Still, even after drawing Hidden Blade, not the best draw to continue building. So I play 2 seals, I play 2 phoenixes, or sorry, 1 phoenix, and pass the turn back. Fortunately for me, he didn't play a 2-drop, so I am kind of let off the hook a little bit, but we'll see what he does. You can see I'm not very happy with drawing 2 seals. I am commentating as I play these games, but I'm just doing a voiceover because I'm trying to like cut through all the downtime of thinking and all that. He ends up playing a LeBlanc in base from his champion zone. I'm trying to figure out where to attack. And I think I end up attacking in Zaun or Starspring. Okay, Starspring. Yeah, so I attack into Starspring, tap my Reksai, try to get some more stuff, and I draw another Phoenix, my 3rd Phoenix, funnily enough, so I decide to play that. 1, 2, 3, tap a seal. And I played this to my base. I could play it on Starspring itself, but I didn't really want to. I was kind of concerned about what he could do, like to add might to his attack. Admittedly, there probably wasn't really anything he can do. Like if I just doubled up Phoenixes on Starspring, I probably would have held it. But he ends up going to the other battlefield anyway, discarding and drawing. I do hide a Hidden Blade on Starspring. It's cheeky because if he were to attack into Starspring, I could respond Hidden Blade on my own Phoenix, draw 2 cards off of it, and then replay Phoenix for my trash, paying the 1 rune here and recycling one of these red runes. But he ends up conquering Zaun Warrens, makes a token of LeBlanc, and he taps out for, I think he played, oh no, he plays Vi. I was kind of surprised he played Vi here, because, well, I guess he could still use it for attack, but I thought you would like maybe want to ambush it. But he is tapped out now, so obviously my attacks are going to be good. I just have to worry about the swing back with his Vi. But I have stuff like Hidden Blade if I really need to. Here I move in with Immortal Phoenix. Maybe I should have played the Soaring Scout first, just in case of drawing Noxus Hopeful off the top. So I go to 3, discard draw, pull a Void Rush, and then I'll do this. And I think, I don't exactly remember how the game went. I do play the Darius, which, you know, got to develop the board. 5 and 1. I'll put it in base. And I mean, here I'm pretty good. I think I'm chilling. No reason to try to ready it because it would just be a 5 might. It would get stunned to Vi. So I end up killing off my own Phoenix with this Hidden Blade, like the interaction I was mentioning before. I get to kill it off, draw 2 cards, pay 1, recycle. I end up not doing it here for whatever reason. You forget why. But I totally could have played the other Phoenix here. So that was a mistake on my part. We go ahead. He makes a reflection unit of a reflection copy of the Vi. He swings in with, wait, how does he make it? I forget how he made it. Oh, right, Starspring. Starspring, because he played a Rex onto Starspring, and then, yeah, he moves in. And he clears out my Phoenixes, which is not the worst thing in the world. I can find time to play a kill spell, and it should be fine. But yeah, definitely a misplay. Like, I could have just played the extra Phoenix, and it would have been a good play. But going for Void Rush, what do I take here? I end up taking the Honest Broker. That also gives my Darius 7 might, because card 1 being played was the Void Rush, card 2 being played was Honest Broker. And I get to keep Cull the Weak in my hand, so if I do want to play Cull the Weak, I can just sacrifice my Honest Broker, Zaun Warren trigger, so I will discard the third Phoenix and then draw one. And what did I do here? I do end up playing Cull the Weak. He gets rid of his Vi. I get a gold from the Death Knell of Honest Broker. Tap a seal for cycle 2 red runes. Tapping 3 energy, and I get to play all 3 of my Phoenixes back. And this is like a very clear example of how this deck can be really good. You know, Cull the Weak, Falling Star, Hidden Blade to an extent. Just like, if you somehow manage to find all 3 Phoenixes early and dump into the trash early, it's crazy, because now I can swing back with 15. You know, this is a model game of how like I would want the Phoenix deck to run. Get the Phoenixes early into the trash and just replay them over time. And don't worry too much about them dying. Here he plays Watchful Sentry he holds, creates a token, Reflection of Ruined Rex, plays a Watchful Sentry, uses Star Spring to bounce the Rex back to base. He moves in with the Rex onto Zaun Warrens, but I play Sacrifice, since I'm going to lose my Darius anyway, to draw 2 and recycle 1. So he discards 1 and draws 1. He plays Baited Hook on the Ruined Rex. Death Knell will kill one of my Phoenixes. And he flips... What does he flip? I don't remember what he flips, if I'm going to be honest. Let's fast forward. He flips a Karthus. In this matchup, Karthus is kill on sight. I think in any matchup where it's possible, you want to just kill Karthus the second you see it, because you don't want to get value. Give the LeBlanc player value with the Karthus. Okay, so going back to my turn, I play Salvage. He did ping my rune, but I was like, no, I used a gold. I follow up with Falling Star on Karthus and the Watchful Sentry. I could have tried swinging in with 2 Phoenixes. I could have tried to swing in with 2 Phoenixes to kill off the Ruined Rex. I was a little concerned about the hidden card, because I'm not quite familiar with the hidden cards in this deck, but I think it's just Hidden Blade. Yeah, okay, so it was Hidden Blade. So I guess I would have just ended up sacking both of my Phoenixes if he Hidden Bladed one of my Phoenixes. But it is what it is, so he ends up Hidden Blading his Ruined Rex. Then my Falling Star will resolve, and then once Falling Star resolves, I can pay 3, recycle 2, and play my Phoenixes again. Right, so like if you think back to this turn, and then the start of one of the previous turns, right? So like if you look at this position here, I say position like I'm still playing chess, but if you look at this board state here, right? 3 Phoenixes in the back, 1 Darius on Zaun Warrens, and then we fast forward past his turn, and then it comes back to me. I still have my Phoenixes here, and I traded off his Ruined Rex, his Rex and base, which was a Karthus, and then a Watchful Sentry, right? So like I just traded all those off, and I have my Phoenixes again. So that's like kind of the scary part of this Phoenix deck, Phoenix Rek'sai deck. Like they just come back, and you have a lot of ways to kill stuff with spells. You see, I even have the second Falling Star in my hand. I have the so I have the second Cull the Weak over here. So I end up moving in with a Phoenix, discarding a Void Hatchling, playing a Vi off the top, move into the other battlefield, conquer to 6. So now I'm at that like critical point of 6 points. I'm gonna go to 8 if he doesn't do anything about it. Now, obviously, this is not very hard to clear a Phoenix in a battlefield when it's not attacking. So he moves in, with Ruined Rex. He plays 2 Karthuses. Creates a reflection of the Ruined Rex. Here you go. I remember he went on a big think and then eventually passed the turn. I hold to 7 on Zaun Warrens. So now I just need to conquer Starspring and I will, you know, I'll win. So I also go into a big think. I'm going to skip forward until I start playing stuff. Okay. Yeah, because I was trying to plan out, like, how can I play Darius or Rek'Sai, Accelerate, swing in, maybe even get a kill spell and then revive my Phoenixes. So I was like trying to go through all that. Do I want to play Cull the Weak to kill off this Phoenix here? To like try to play it back, but then that would involve needing to play Rek'Sai first. Play Rek'Sai, play Cull the Weak, play Phoenix, pay for the Accelerate cost. That would have been all of my runes basically. So 4 if I accelerate Rek'Sai, 4 plus 2 plus 2. And then also recycling 1, 2. Well, I have 2 seals. So just recycling 1 yellow and 1 red for the Accelerate. You know, like, I was calculating that, but then I was also calculating Darius. Pay 5 in a seal. Play, like, let's say Void Rush, 2 in a seal. Darius will be ready. Play something else, attack in with Darius, Phoenix, Vi, and I don't know, do something like that. So what I end up doing is going for Falling Star first, because if I crash in immediately, he's going to get 3, maybe even 6 instances of dealing 4 damage, which could mean I don't conquer, because he can clear out Phoenix, Vi, and then like Vi, something else, like whatever else I play. So I start with Falling Star, 1 on each Karthus. He plays Sacrifice on the Ruined Rex. I let it go through. And then he kills off, because he has 3 triggers of Ruined Rex, he kills off both of my Phoenixes and puts 1 trigger on Vi. So now Falling Star resolves. And I play 1 Phoenix, which I don't remember why I only played 1 Phoenix. Oh, right. I remember the situation. So this was a misplay. I didn't actually want to play Phoenix, or I should not have, because I'll give you a second to think. Why should I have not played Phoenix? Okay, so just to recap, I played Falling Star at the start of this turn. I played Falling Star. He sacrificed a Rex, killed off my 2 Phoenixes, and put 4 damage on Vi. My Falling Star kills 2 of his Karthuses. Why do you think this was a misplay to play the Phoenix? Pause the video if you want to think about it and look at my hand. So the reason it was a misplay is because I could have played Darius. I could have played Darius. That would have been the second card I played this turn. It goes to 7 might. I swing in, stun the Rex, kill the Rex. He only has 1 rune up, so like the best he can do is sacrifice, right? Like with 1 rune up. So if I just played Darius, I win. Or if I played Rek'Sai Accelerated, I win. Because I swing in, Vi will stun the Rex, Rex dies. Healing happens before the Death Knell triggers, or Death Knell resolves, so he'll only be able to kill my Rek'Sai, and then I still have Vi to fully conquer. And the same thing would happen with Darius. He would not be able to kill anything, actually. The 4 damage would not be able to kill my Vi. Yeah, I mean, even if it did, my Darius would still be there. So that was the misplay. I didn't need to play Phoenix, and I realized after I played the Phoenix that it was a mistake. And after some more thinking, I'm like, wait, I can just play Reksai. And here I almost forget. We almost forget that his Rex should be stunned, right? You can kind of see the chat right here. Oh, wait, I get stunned. I say, oh, right. You can't see it right now, but he's stunned. I'm going to kill his Rex. my damage will heal. He will only have 4 damage to deal off of the Death Knell trigger. My Vi will definitely live, and he does end up GGing, and we go to game 2. But at any rate, I just wanted to showcase that game as, you know, that's kind of how you want the Phoenix deck to work. You just replay Phoenixes a few times per game. It's hard to deal with because it attacks for 5. Granted, it only has 3 might when it's not attacking, but you have a lot of ways to kill units with spells, to replay the Phoenixes, to attack for 5 again. So I hope you enjoyed that. Probably play a game 2 after this. Okay, we're gonna switch into another gameplay video. This time, I'm playing the same friend, training at like a best of 3, but we're gonna be playing against MF Aurora. I feel like Aurora is quite popular, even if it's not necessarily dominant. So having like at least something for Aurora, I think would help a lot of people. I think this game he decides to go second, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so this game he decided to go second. We're looking at our opening hand. Deathgrip, not very useful in the Aurora matchup because he's probably not going to be playing a unit except for maybe MF. Now, if this was if this was Sivir Aurora, I would be, well, I mean, I would still be getting rid of Deathgrip, but there's like even less to worry about against Sivir in terms of early units until obviously Aurora was coming in. So I end up mulliganing the Deathgrip. I pull a Honest Broker, which is fine. Not amazing, but fine. So turn 1 Void Hatchling. I mean, obviously he played a 2-drop. He goes stack deck. He play oh, and he just passes. Turn 2, I play Void Rush first. I actually think this is a misplay. I think I should have gone for Rek'sai Accelerated so I can get to 2 points immediately. Right? You want to really put the Aurora player on a clock. So by playing Void Hatchling, I'm only conquering to 1, and I have to wait like 1 extra turn to get to the critical 6 points to get to the 8 points, right? Whereas if I conquer with Reksai right now, I'll go 2 points, next turn 4 points, next turn 6, next turn 8. So turn 5, I would win, assuming he bricks. So yeah, playing Void Rush, probably a mistake. I think Rek'sai Accelerated would have been the better move. He cannot, right, based on his runes, he cannot accelerate MF next turn. Maybe if he drew Immobilize, I would be a little more concerned about accelerating Rek'sai. But yeah, in this situation, I should have probably accelerated it. I do end up getting a Noxus Hopeful off of Void Rush. It is free because I played Void Rush, which counts for the Legion, and then Void Rush discounts the Noxus Hopeful by 2, making it a total of 0 might. So I conquer with Void Hatchling, discard my Honest Broker, and I believe I drew a Falling Star there. And then, so here I'm looking at the top card of my deck, because I'm going to reveal off of the Rek'sai Legend. Unfortunately I pull a Darius and I can't play it, so it's gonna end up going to the bottom anyway. And I'm basically just trying to dig for his for answers for his eventual Aurora. Now this is game 1, so I only have 1 salvage in main deck, but stuff like Hidden Blade, Cull the Weak, yeah, those 2 and salvages are probably the main things I'm looking for. But unfortunately, I didn't pull. Well, I did pull it, but now's not the time. So maybe I didn't even need to do the Void Burrower ability. Maybe I should be saving those for Void Rush. So on his turn, he goes Mobilize. Sure. 4 mana. He plays Lunar Boon. Just digging. So I'm like, okay, fine. Here I hold to 2, and then I conquer to 3, which I just realized now I didn't get the points for. Off of the top, well, first I'm looking at the top card. There's a case to be made that I should be, well, I don't have any other card to play, unfortunately, so I can't really like play something in anticipation of Noxus Hopeful. But I am using the Void Hatchling ability to look at the top card first. I see a Soaring Scout. I believe I bottom this because it's not useful. Right, I already have units on the board. Like, I'm just looking for answers for when Aurora comes down. Vi and Longsword, again, neither are too useful. I mean, Vi would be nice to have later, but I can't play it, obviously. Longsword, the +2, probably not as useful against Baron, Elder, or Minesplitter. So I bottomed those as well. That is my Discord, and I apologize. Let me close that out. So I pass the turn. He's on 8 runes. I'm not too concerned yet, but yeah. Oh, I think I forget to recycle one for Conquering Sigil. I'll skip forward. I think he just passes the turn. So that was kind of confusing for me because, like, I don't know what he has. Obviously, he can't play Aurora yet, but, like, I don't know. I figured he could maybe just play MF Accelerated or even non-accelerated to threaten, like, one of my units on board. I end up passing my turn without doing anything because there's not really anything to do. You could argue I should be playing Darius, but because he's going to be at 10 runes next turn, there's a good possibility he has Aurora, flips Elder, and then plays Flurry of Blades, and then just wipes my whole board, and I lose from there because I will not be able to rebuild. I don't want to put Darius in base because of the Elder Dragon play effect, where it'll just ping everything, right? It'll ping my Void Hatchling, Hopeful, and Darius. So I just keep it in my hand and just wait. And I'll develop if I need to, but as it stands, I'm putting him on a clock. I need 2 turns to win, which really should have just been 1 turn to win. So that's my bad. He does end up playing Aurora. He plays a stacked deck, which I could react to, but I don't see a need to right now, right? Also, I don't have... I guess the only thing I would react to with is my Hidden Blade, but I don't need to do that right now. If he flips Mind Splitter, then I'm in a fine spot. He does flip Mind Splitter. All right, so he'll reveal my hand. He gets rid of my Cull the Weak, which is fair. And then he passes the turn. Here I go for Void Rush because I'm trying to look for more answers, like Cull the Weak or something like that. And here I'm trying to do the... yeah. So here I'm just like doing the Void Hatchling thing, looking at the top card first. Then I will actually trigger Void Burrower. I saw the Cull the Weak, so I'm just going to play Cull the Weak right away. That goes to the hand. So I end up... what did I end up killing? I think I killed my Hopeful here. Because if I kill my Void Hatchling, I can't... well, I won't be holding, first and foremost. Oh, I do kill my Void Hatchling. Okay, yeah, I guess that's fine. I thought I would have kept the Void Hatchling to keep the hidden card there, but I ended up keeping Hopeful alive instead. Here I play another Seal, and again, next turn he could flip an Elder. So if I develop my so I'm gonna pause here. Here he can flip another Elder. So playing Reksai to this battlefield doesn't make any sense, right? I'm already threatening a hold with the Noxus Hopeful. If he pulls an Elder on his turn, it might be a little dicey, but I might be able to conquer and win. Like if I play Darius and then play Reksai, they're both ready. I can try to double conquer. But he might have Flurry of Blades, so we'll never know. But playing Reksai here was a mistake. I don't need to discard and draw per se, let alone draw for the conquer point. Yeah, so that this was not necessary. He plays a Sabotage, gets rid of my Falling Star. Oh, well, he can't target a unit. I guess that's alright. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because Sacrifice is not going to... he doesn't care if I play Sacrifice on one of my units. He ends his turn, flips Elder off of Aurora, now he's going to kill my whole board, and now I'm kind of stuck, right? I drew a Salvage, which is kind of nice, but I can't actually do anything. Like, I'm going to conquer... and he plays Flurry of Blades. All right, so I'll just rewind that. I try to conquer. He plays Flurry of Blades. With Elder, it's going to kill my Darius, so I have to sacrifice Darius. Draw 2, channel 1. He goes, conquers with Elder, and I'm going to start fast forwarding here because I'm basically running out of steam. His Aurora is just going to keep flipping cards. And I just can't do anything after the fact. So I'm just going to keep skipping ahead. He pulls a Baron off of Aurora. Draw Cleave. Then, I mean, it's just GG from here. Because he plays a Flurry, I think. Or he plays Bullet Time. Same thing. And then he wins. So you can see my critical misplay this game was just not playing Rek'sai when it accelerated, when it was not going to be threatened by his MF in response. And even if he does play MF in response, or on his next turn to clear out one of my units, that's fine. Like, I'll be able to clear his MF out relatively easily once I get like a Darius or something. Or like a Phoenix plus Cleave. So, and also notice, like, I'm at 7 points. If I had played Rek'sai on that turn earlier, on this turn, or no, sorry. If I played a Rek'sai on, yeah, this turn, instead of going for Void Rush, I would have won. I would have won on 8 points once I got to here. Right, I would have won. Now, granted, I don't know what he has in his hand, so maybe he had some response if I did play it like that. But I could have at least threatened a win if I had played Rek'sai to get to that 2-point check mark, that checkpoint early, right? Because 6 is a critical number to get to 8 points, because you can try to score on both battlefields. And then because 6 is a critical checkpoint, 4 is a critical checkpoint because that lets you get to 6, which lets you get to 8. And because of that, 2 is a critical checkpoint because 2 will get you to 4, will get you to 6, will get you to 8. So that's some like high level, you know, like macro play that I made a mistake on this game. But I hope that was somewhat insightful on how 2 of the matchups go against Azir. You want to try to outlast their tokens and be careful around Arise. And against Aurora, you just need to get to those points, the critical points, as soon as possible so that you can try to threaten a win. I hope this whole video was helpful. I'm not a terribly experienced player, but, you know, there's not a lot of Immortal Phoenix Rek'sai or just Immortal Phoenix builds out there from what I've seen. So hopefully this will get out there and inspire you guys to play yourselves. Let me know what you want to see in the future, but for now, take it easy.